On behalf of the government and people of Ghana, it is my great pleasure to welcome Your Excellencies, distinguished leaders of our continent, and all of you to Ghana for the 7th edition of the African Leadership Forum. As we say in Ghana, Akwaba, you're amongst the people who pride themselves on their sense of hospitality, and I hope that by the end of your visit, you will agree with this claim. I believe that the choice of Ghana to host the meeting has everything to do with the special place she holds as a beacon of stable, democratic governance in Africa, as well as the place of the proverbial warm hospitality of the Ghanaian people. Indeed, this forum, being held at a critical period in history in Africa, like the rest of the world, is dealing with the twin effects of the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russian invasion of Ukraine, could not find a better venue than our vibrant capital city of Accra. I applaud the Ngozi Institute of Dar es Salaam and the Secretariat of the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA, for convening this forum at a time when we have all come, hopefully, to the realization that no country can afford to go it alone, and that we in Africa are required to hasten the process of continental integration. We cannot allow our collective fate to be decided by exogenous shocks thousands and thousands of miles away. The time is long overdue for Africa and Africans to define our own narrative. We must be defined by what we see in ourselves and not what others choose to say about us. However, this cannot happen if we do not trade amongst ourselves. Africa accounts for only 3% of global trade, and intra-African trade is one of the lowest of any region globally. This is largely due to the colonial economic model, characterized by small individual economies, fragmented and disconnected regional markets, over-reliance on the production and export of primary commodities, and the presence of low productive capacities, which have been in existence for the last century. As the adage goes, there is strength in unity, and for all 54 member states of the African Union, our strength lies with our numbers. Cumulatively, we have a population of 1.3 billion, the majority of whom are young people, and we are in possession of a collective GDP of some 3 trillion United States dollars, making us collectively the 8th largest economy in the world. This positions Africa as potentially an extremely attractive investment destination, and with the relevant investment, we'll be able to sustain economic growth and create the job opportunities that the youth of our continent so desperately need. The AFCFTA is undeniably a major game changer, and once fully realized, we can increase intra-African trade by 35 billion United States dollars and reduce external imports by 10 billion United States dollars yearly. This will mean more opportunities for growth for our small businesses and the potential to lift some 30 million people out of extreme poverty. Additionally, a successful AFCFTA will mean that Africa's industrial exports will be diversified, thus moving away from undue reliance on extractive commodities and foreign imports. Indeed, for a continent in possession of 1/3 of the world's arable land, the potential to create prosperity for our peoples through agriculture is immense. With 50% of our peoples engaged in this sector, the World Economic Forum tells us, and I quote, "Agriculture has exceptional potential for increasing intra-African trade, meeting local demand, accelerating GDP growth, creating new jobs, and improving inclusivity due to upstream and downstream linkages," unquote. If we are to realize this, we must first of all move away from being mere producers and exporters of raw agricultural produce and add value to our agriculture. Not only will we be able to increase our earnings from our agriculture, but we will also position countries on the continent to be able to deal with price hikes and shocks caused by global events. It is good to see many African countries transitioning to this point, which will also serve as a major economic boost for African women, the majority of whom make up the agricultural workforce. Unlocking Africa's agricultural potential will help mobilize the requisite amount of financing needed to help develop the continent. Africa needs between 130 to 170 billion United States dollars annually to bridge her infrastructural gap and generate sustainable growth of at least 5% per year. This presents an exceptional opportunity for private sector investment. Your Excellencies, like the vision of our forebears, the AFCFTA has set the stage for Africa's industrialization and transformation. What is required now is for our respective governments and businesses to show bold leadership. We need coherent and complementary strategic actions by governments and businesses, the right mix of policies and strategies for exports, value addition to raw commodities, and a greater sense of purpose to ensure a robust intra-Africa trade, to drive agricultural growth, economic diversification, and the much-needed industrialization of the continent. We must consolidate the successes so far, and with a sense of urgency, develop the signature solutions needed to deepen intra-African trade and spur impact investments needed to bring prosperity to the continent and her people. And we must do this with fearless determination. Then we shall put Africa to work and repudiate the recent culture of failure. We shall then take our rightful place in the world, especially if we achieve the difficult target of silencing the guns, without which we cannot attain our objectives of building a free, prosperous, democratic, united Africa, governed by the rule of law, respect for human rights, and the principles of democratic accountability. May God bless the Africa Leadership Forum, Mother Africa, and us all. I thank you for our attention and declare the Africa Leadership Forum duly open.